Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Q&A session all about SMPS University. In this webinar, you will learn about the SMPS University Advanced Leadership Program. You will meet recent SMPS U graduates who discuss the unique graduate-level curriculum taught by faculty from the University of Maryland's Robert H. Smith School of Business. They'll also answer your questions about SMPS U, a program designed specifically for marketers and business developers in the AEC industry. This is Natasha Masabi with the SMPS headquarters staff. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping items to cover. On the right side of your screen, you will see the GoToWebinar sidebar. You can click on the orange arrow to expand or minimize the side panel. As mentioned, there will be time for questions and answers during this program. You may either type them in directly into the chat box or use the raise your hand icon to ask a question over the phone. Finally, today's program is being recorded and will be posted on the SMPS website. It is now my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today's program. Professor Wagner served as the Associate Chair for the Marketing Department for over 7 years until 2010. She was recently appointed Director of the Center for Excellence in Service at the Smith School of Business. Professor Wagner's research and teaching focuses on services marketing and survey results research methods. Her most recent research is on how service firms in both online and offline environments build relationships with their customers. Of particular interest is how firms build customer loyalty through customer satisfaction, trust, and value. Professor Wagner has consulted on service marketing and customer service for clients such as IBM, AOL, Sunrise Senior Living, Marriott, and many more. Samantha James joined the Office of Executive Programs in March 2007 as a program coordinator and has worked her way up to Associate Director. She has worked with several corporate clients, including Lockheed Martin, Black & Decker, General Dynamics, and many others. Sam prides herself on service excellence and program administration. She has played an active role in the creation, launch, execution of non-degree and degree programs. She earned her Master's in Business Administration from the University of Maryland University College. Adam Kilborn is the Director of Marketing at Tech Inc. Engineering and Design and Tech Studio Inc. His responsibilities include marketing and IT. An active board member of the SMPS Northeast Ohio chapter for 7 years, Adam is also active nationally as the chair of the Technology Committee. He co-authored the SMPS Foundation white paper, The Client's Use of Social Media and Social Networking, and has presented several topics at numerous regional and national conferences. Adam is a graduate of the SMPS University class of 2011. Katie Stern is Director of Marketing for EHS Support. Katie has more than 9 years of experience marketing professional services. She concentrates on management of marketing and business development activities with particular focus on brand recognition, social media, virtual communications, and technology. She is currently the president of the SMPS Pittsburgh chapter, having previously served as the membership chair and the education chair. Her approach to communication, social media, and technology have been published in his white letter, and Katie was a speaker at the 2013 SMPS Build Business National Conference and served on the Programs Committee for the 2014 Build Business Conference. Katie is a graduate of the SMPS University class of 2012. At this time, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Janet, who will give a brief overview of the program.
Hello, everyone. We're very happy to have you this afternoon to discuss the program. I'm the academic director. The program is organized in two modules, two two-day modules, and there's a break in between. And in the break in between, you're actually going to do what we call an action learning project, which is a team-based project that addresses a challenge that you see your firm's dealing with, and it's an opportunity for you to apply some of the concepts that you learn in SMPS. Okay, you should attend SMPS University because I know all of you are aspiring to assume leadership roles both in your firm and in your industry. And when you come to Smith, you'll be interacting with some of the best and most knowledgeable faculty in the world. And from them, you'll be learning some of the most up-to-date best practices in service marketing and management. One of the things I think you know intuitively just from your experience is the fact that marketing service is more challenging than marketing products. So our focus on marketing service is going to be designed to help you meet that challenge. And what we hope is that at SMPS U, you will learn the tools and techniques that you need to help you lead your firm to higher levels of growth and profit. Sam, do you want to take it from here?
Sure. Thanks, Janet. So as Janet previously mentioned, the program is structured in two parts. So the first 2 days are October 16th and 17th, and they will be held on the University of Maryland campus in College Park. The second part of the program will be held November 13th through 14th, and it will be at our DC campus within the Ronald Reagan building. I should add that there is a welcome reception on the evening of October 15th, which will be held at the College Park Marriott, which is just a short walk from our building. So for the first part of the session, you will be staying at the College Park Marriott Conference Center. This is a hotel that we use quite frequently and hosts a lot of our corporate clients. They, if you're looking at the slides, you'll see the details surrounding logistics for the rooms and the accommodations and amenities, and I'll allow you to look through that. The second part of the program is, as I mentioned, at our Ronald Reagan building. There will also be 2 days, there will be a closing dinner that will be just located a short distance from where our facility is located. And Janet, would you like to take over with the
Sure.
Where and from?
Sure. As I said, you will be learning from the Smith School faculty, and our faculty have international reputations for their outstanding research and teaching in service marketing and management. On the left side of the screen, you'll see Professor P.K. Kannan, who will teach one of the modules on how to manage the life cycle of service products. PK is currently our department chair in marketing. He's our Ralph Kaiser Professor of Marketing, and he's the former director of our Center for Excellence in Service, and I am currently the director of our Center for Excellence in Service, which is a research and teaching focused group of faculty who run executive education programs focused on various aspects of service marketing. Then off on the right, you'll see an example of one of the classrooms at Smith. This particular one I think is at the Ronald Reagan building, but the ones on the College Park campus are very similar. And these classrooms are all equipped with the latest educational technology. So let's have a quick talk about the curriculum. And actually, Adam and Katie, if you have anything to add as we go along here, I'd be happy to hear from you about this. As I said, the curriculum is organized in two two-day modules. The first module is in October, and on the morning of the first day, I will work with you to give you an overview of service marketing strategy. As I said, one of the big challenges we face in marketing service is the fact that service is an intangible product. So it's incumbent upon us to try to communicate to the customer the different features of our service that are superior to those of our competitors. Service marketing also differs from the marketing of goods in that we rely very much on client relationships. So we'll talk about some of the strategies that we use to help us drive client satisfaction and loyalty. And at the end of the module, what I hope you'll be able to do is start to look at the quality of your service from your client's point of view. And one of the techniques that we're going to discuss and that you're going to learn in this module is service blueprinting. And this is a process by which we map our service from the point of view of our clients. And we use the map to help us identify places where our service is strong and where it could be improved. And we're entering our 4th cohort here. And service blueprints have been a very popular project for participants in the program when they do their ALPs. So Module 2 is taught by Joydeep Srivastava, and Joydeep is our Ralph J. Kaiser Professor of Consumer Science. And Joydeep is an expert on marketing research, and in particular, he's an expert on survey research. And we know that professional service firms use surveys quite a bit in helping them learn about their customers. So in this module, Joydeep is going to help you learn the latest best practices in designing scientifically sound surveys. I think you'll find this very interesting because there are actually scientific ways of writing and organizing research questions. I think everyone thinks that they can write good survey questions, and in fact, it's much more challenging than people really realize. And again, getting back to the ALPs, writing surveys has also been a very popular action learning project in the program. And Joydeep is a terrific mentor if that's something that your team decides to do. Then the 3rd and 4th modules are directed toward financial management. And I know that in many cases, those of you who have gone to school and you've gotten degrees in marketing, you've taken an introductory finance class, and that's about it. The focus of these modules is really to bring you up to speed so that you can talk to the executives in your firm about the financial implications of the marketing programs that you want to offer. And in the first, you'll love Mike, by the way. He's an associate professor in finance. And the focus of the first module is going to be financial metrics that you can use to help you gauge your progress toward your financial goals. And one of the most important of these, of course, is return on investment. And Mike will actually work with you on a problem that illustrates how to calculate the return on investment from specific marketing programs to help you make better decisions about the programs that you offer. Then the 4th module, What Are Your Customers Worth?, focuses on a concept called customer lifetime value. And the basic idea behind this concept is that you have a portfolio of customers, and some of those relationships are actually more profitable than others. And customer lifetime value is a financial tool that allows you to calculate how much you should actually be investing in the marketing program directed at each of your clients. And again, this is a topic that has possibilities for action learning projects, which takes me to the action learning projects. As I said, the purpose of an ALP is first of all to help you practice your team skills, but also to help you apply the concepts that you've learned in the first module to real challenges that your firms face. And I've just given you 3 examples here of projects that have been done by teams in previous cohorts. As I said, service blueprints have been very popular. A number of teams have done blueprints on the business development process, for example. Last year, one of the teams actually did a really interesting service blueprint on the process by which the firm uses social media to interact with its clients. Client lifetime value calculations are popular. And we've also had several teams write surveys that are directed toward gauging their client service satisfaction. And the action learning project is set up so that you present the results of your project to your classmates on the first morning of the second session. And there will also be some Smith School faculty there too. Taking us to the second session, and this is the session that's held in D.C. at the Ronald Reagan Building. The Ronald Reagan Building is just right down the street from the White House. It's in a great location. And this module is taught by P.K. Kanan, who I introduced previously. And the focus of this is going to be the life cycle for service products and how you manage the life cycle. You're going to have some products that are relatively new. You're going to have some in their maturity. You're going to have some that are basically going to start to not be as popular as they were. And how do you use your service marketing strategy to help you accrue as much profit as possible at each stage of the life cycle? And then Yogesh Joshi, who's a newly minted associate professor of marketing, will offer a module on customer-centric marketing. And this focuses on innovation and the importance to your firms of having a continuous flow of new services to offer to your clients in order to maintain your competitiveness. And part of this builds on the idea of understanding what it is your customers need and want from you. And one interesting topic that Yogesh teaches here is conjoint analysis. And this is an experimental design technique that allows you to evaluate the trade-offs that your customers make when they evaluate the different attributes of your service. And he also includes a case study on IDEO, which is an industrial design firm that's one of the leaders in designing not just new products, but also services for some of the biggest companies in the country. And then the last two modules focus on leadership. And we have a new addition to the SMPS U faculty in this cohort, is Hui Liu, who's a professor of management at the Smith School. And Hui has an international reputation for her research and teaching in the field of leadership. And she's going to address the question of how being a leader differs from being a manager. And she's going to help you analyze your own leadership style and work with you to help you learn how to adjust your leadership style to different types of customers as well as different types of employees. And then the last module is going to be leading without authority. And the point of this is that you can lead your firm without dominating. And the goal here is to build your own reputation within the firm, establish your network not only within the firm but also within the industry, and leverage your leadership style, which you will have learned in the first module, to help you actually make a difference to your firm's performance. Okay.
Thank you, Janet.
Natasha, I think you're going to talk about the dinner.
No, actually, that's me. Thank you, Janet. So this is Sam again. So as I mentioned,
Sam, sorry.
It's okay. We will conclude the program with a celebratory dinner after all of your hard work. I also would like to add that in addition to on-site support while you're there, our team will also make sure that you have all of your materials for the program prior to, which means that any access to pre-work will all be available to you through our learning management system. We'll even go as far as to make sure that individual groups are set up for you so that as you do your group work for your action learning projects, you'll have the ability to communicate with your group in a controlled environment. And as well, if there are any operational needs prior to or during the program, my team will be more than happy to facilitate in any way that we can. And I believe that the next section is going to be Katie, Adam?
Go ahead and turn it over to Adam Kilborn.
Okay.
And the reasons to join us for SMPS U.
Thank you. So a few points on here, and I have a couple others to add to it. First one is to learn the latest and best practices in marketing and management, and those are some of the things that Janet talked about early on with the different modules that we go through. The next one is to develop your leadership and teamwork, decision-making, and analytical skills. And by going through the program and doing the group projects and the different practice skills, you definitely gain a better understanding of the information than you would just by reading a book or sitting in a lecture for a day. You get to network and learn from your peers, and this was probably one of my favorite parts, was just the ability to meet some people that I hadn't met before. I've heard some of their names, and some of them I had never met or heard of before, but it was a variety. The first class that I was in was a variety of people from second and third year staff people up through very senior, in fact, principals of firms, and from very small firms to very large firms. So it was quite the gamut of people in the class. And it's just I still talk to most of the people from my group, so that's a great experience right there. And then to position yourself to lead your firm and your industry. And so by going through this program, it just gives you a much better understanding of how the business works and gives you the ability to to lead in your practice groups, but then bring that back to your company and try to lead there. Helps to build confidence and just feel better about the way that you understand and can work. And I think that those are the best reasons to join SMPS University.
Great, thank you.
So,
Katie?
Sure. To highlight some of the most valuable aspects to the program, you guys heard Janet talk pretty in detail about all the modules for the program in general. These are just some of the ones that, talking to the past two classes of alumni, have been the most valuable for them, one of which being financial management. Just being able to go back and educating the people within your firm that you know how to look and analyze, balance sheets, income statements, cash flow, and the financial vocabulary of just understanding what your CFOs and other members of the C-suite are talking about and being able to engage in those discussions with them. Customer lifetime value analysis, I found this very useful, especially from a business development perspective, and just understanding how a lot of other firms, as Adam alluded to, both large and small firms, have participants within the program. So they're talking about, what they're doing to analyze business development activities and the analysis of customer lifetime value throughout their firms. Leading without authority is one of the things that was very interesting in terms of one of the last models that we highlighted throughout the program, and that was just understanding what your leadership authority is on a personal level, and then how to really apply that to the teams that you're working in, establishing your network and growing that both within the firm and outside your organization within the industry to help you both personally and professionally in the development stages of your career. One of the most interesting things I think that happens within the program is the opportunity that you get to do these action learning projects, the group presentations that are formed in the first session of the program, and then your team works on them throughout the break through the first session and the second session. And I know my group personally did the service blueprinting, and we worked on showing workflow and distinction between your core services and your support services throughout the office and throughout the company. And it was very interesting to hear and even see as you're working within your group how that lays out for different firms. And you get an understanding just going through that process of where you may have some loopholes or some places where you could improve the flow of work and distinction, within your firm. So you can take that blueprint back to your office and kind of apply it to what you're doing. And it's always really great to have something visual to show people in terms of what you're talking about, and that's already laid out. And plus, when you're presenting, you're getting questions posed to you from professors of the university as well as other classmates, which are very educational and kind of make you think about that a little bit more in terms of bringing value back to the firm of what you're speaking to. And last but not least, how to educationally discuss investment decisions within the C-suite. I think this is just something of overall value that you get from every type of module throughout the program, and the discussions that you're involved in with the other classmates as well as the professors within the program, just being able to quantify the value of marketing and business development with actual data and numbers and cost savings, which we all know from the C-suite perspective is something that people are looking for, that your principals are looking for, the firms, showing return on investment in real time, and just, some examples of that, of how long it will take to gain a profit from pursuing a client, from 1 year to 2 years, to even a couple months, or what size or how many projects do we need to bring in to kind of balance the cost for attending a conference. I know that's something that's always come up is what's the value of attending this event, and what's our return going to be on that. So those are just some of the things in terms of valuable aspects to the program.
Katie, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Adam. One other point that kind of goes along with this is that all of us that go to SMPS programs throughout the year, whether it's our local programs or conferences along the way, those are very AEC-centric programs, and everything that we learn is sort of boxed within our industry, where the SMPS University program is a little different as it breaks out of that box and looks at other industries that also do service and helps us to kind of take some of what those industries are learning and then bring that back and learn how to apply it to what we do. So that's probably one of the biggest differences between this program and our typical SMPS conference programs. That was it.
That was a really good
point
point,
you're
Adam.
making. I'm sorry, excuse me, can I just say something? I think that's a great point that Adam has made there. Because I think you all know that professional services actually has been slower to come into marketing than goods-based industries have been. And there really is a lot to learn from other industries that you can turn around and apply in a professional services firm and be the first to do that, be ahead of your competitors in doing it.
Both of you made a really good point and kind of segue into my virtual cooperation opportunities for the program, because that's one of the biggest things is talking with other AEC firms within the industry and with other members of your class who are in different positions within their firms, I think, Adam had mentioned it earlier. You have people in the program who are a couple years into their professional career all the way up to principals of large and small firms. So just being able to collaborate with them and hear their stories and their approaches and even, struggles that they're having within their firms and how they're approaching new methods to be successful with these is really such an educational process. And, discussing similar challenges as well as, we were talking about the classroom discussions and the assigned reading materials that you have when you're not in session are really good case studies and I think foster really good conversations when you come back together as a full class and are able to talk about those, because they're case studies that are from both the AEC community as well as B2C firms that can be applied to practices that we use in everyday workflow initiatives. And then, of course, I just found this to be another way to expand my SMPS network, and the people that were in it were a very different group of people than you would meet, kind of as what Adam alluded to, in your regional and local program level type events. And so this is a really good opportunity to grow your network even further and to have some people to reach out to for many years to come as you face challenges, as you continue to grow in your professional career through SMPS University.
Okay, great. Thank you. At this time, we can take in questions from our audience. You may ask a question by directly typing into the chat box, or you can raise your hand to ask a verbal question. Okay, we'll just give everybody a minute to type in their questions. Okay, we have one question here. Will there be homework or reading in advance of the first session, just to kind of prepare everybody?
Yes, so there will be, this is Samantha, there will be pre-work that will be given for each of the modules prior to the start of each session, and you'll have access to that roughly about 2 to 3 weeks prior to the start of the session, and you'll have access to that through our learning management system. So you'll receive an email on how to access our learning management system, and it'll list out by module all of the required readings.
Great, thank you, Sam. Okay, this is more of a logistical question. Does the fee of the course include hotel costs?
This is Samantha. The fee of the course does not include the hotel costs. I believe that it needs to be booked separately, and SMPS actually handles the room blocks and sends out the information that pertains to the negotiated rate.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll take our next question. What is the typical number of participants for this program?
This is Sam again.
What was the question?
How many typically attend? I'll go ahead and repeat the question. What is the typical number of attendees for this program?
Sam, do you want to take that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we generally average somewhere in the number of about 18 to 20 participants per cohort.
Great. Okay, we'll take our next question. If you had to calculate preparation time in advance of each session, what would the estimate be?
I think Katie and Adam might be the best to answer that.
I don't know if I could calculate like number of hours, but I would just say, and I was going to kind of answer this to the first question about, would there be homework in advance or whatnot. The information or the pre-work for the sessions is given in far enough in advance that if you, break it down to do, a certain number of readings a night, or I think it depends on your learning style. Some people I know from class sat down and read, half the readings one day and half the readings the next day, and they were done. Some people like to do, one an evening and kind of break it down. So it really kind of depends on what you're comfortable with and what you can manage. But I would just allow time for you to read those. And I know that there were a couple for myself. There was a lot of information, a lot of really good information in the articles leading up for the pre-session work. So there were some that I read a couple times. So I think it's more, dependent on the person and how you learn and how you take in information. But there's definitely enough time, between the time that the sessions start and when you receive the pre-work to get that done where you don't have to feel rushed.
I would agree with Katie on that, and that, again, the learning style depends on, for each person, but I would say it's at least a couple hours per session is probably enough for most people to do. You don't need days and weeks of time to prepare, and at least in my class, there wasn't anything, you weren't being quizzed or tested on the information. It was certainly valuable and helpful to have an understanding of it going into the session, but it's not going to, I don't want to say it's not that you shouldn't do it, but it's not the end of the world if you don't quite finish it along the way. Maybe, and hopefully, I don't know if that's changed or not. Janet, you might have a better...
Oh, no, I don't think so. I would agree, because typically what we do is we pick, I think, what the most important information is out of the articles and use that as the focus of the lecture/discussion in class. And I think that the lecture discussion is adequate to help you, at least get a hold on the information, even if you haven't read the reading very carefully.
Great, thank you. We'll take our next question at this time. Do you work on one main action learning project throughout the entire program, or several, or one each weekend? And does the action learning project result in a presentation to the class members?
I can take that. There's one action learning project. It is team-based. The way we set this up is that on the first day of the program, the class breaks up into teams, and you get to decide who your team members are. If we have 20 participants, we would probably have 4 teams of 5 or 5 teams of 4. And you get to pick one action learning project, and you work on that in the break between the 2 sessions. And you work on it virtually. And one of the faculty members will be your mentor, depending on what it is that you pick. I typically find that the teams work very independently. They don't rely on their mentors very much, but the mentors are there if they need them. And then on the first morning of the second session, when we're in DC at the Reagan Building, you do a 15 or 20-minute presentation of your project to some of the Smith School faculty as well as your classmates.
Great, thank you. Looks like we're all caught up on our questions. Do we have any additional comments before we wrap up the session today? went ahead and put up everyone's email up on the screen. Feel free, if you have additional questions, to email Janet, Sam, Katie, or Adam directly, or any of their registration questions, the logistical questions. Feel free to email Alla Orlova as well at SMPS headquarters. All right. If there's no additional comments, on behalf of SMPS, thank you to our presenters and all of today's participants. The program has ended.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You may now disconnect.